Who y'all recruiting nation? Welcome back to another phenomenal episode of Uncharted Waters with the one, the only, the people's champ, the architect of success, Admiral James Waters. I am Chief Totome. Let's get into another incredible episode. Today we have a true special guest, the definition of a warrior. He's achieved what only 0.67 of the United States Navy can achieve. He started his career 17 years ago as an enlisted Explosive Ordnance Disposal sailor and now a commissioned officer. Today we have with us Navy Recruiting Command's Warrior Challenge Branch Head, Lieutenant Kevin Coger. Sir, welcome.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, what a welcome. Yeah, it's great to have you. Just put it the welcomes and such. It was amazing.
Sir, can you give us a quick synopsis of who you are and your journey in the Navy?
Sure, yes. So always knew I was going to be in the military, Army brat. So I knew I didn't want to be on Army bases for sure. My brother joined the Marines, so he made sure I didn't join the Marines. So came Navy, EOD all the way. Absolutely loved it. Been stationed in Florida, Italy, Spain, San Diego for a long time, and then just moved here about a year ago, or just over a year and a half. But yeah, I loved my whole career. Loved it. Enlisted, commissioned in 2018 as a limited duty officer. Got a degree from AMU, or the American Public University System, in 2021, and yeah, loving the Navy.
Ooh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So, sir, in Navy recruiting, as the head of Warrior Challenge, what do you see as some of the most significant challenges, and how can we better equip our recruiters across the enterprise to handle this?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to talk about how hard it is to recruit for Warrior Challenge and lose sight of how hard it is to recruit across the whole enterprise. I've been blown away since I've been here, what everyone's able to accomplish. But yeah, every standard across Warrior Challenge is just a little bit higher. So it just makes it that much harder to find people. So we have to meet higher physical requirements, pass the physical screening test. Higher physical requirements. Also, BUMED and NAMI approve all of our waivers and dive physicals, so it's a little bit higher standard than the traditional just general enlistment, and then higher ASVAB standards, higher legal waiver requirements for those communities. So just all these interlocking diagrams that bring it down to a very small amount of people who can actually make it into these pipelines. And then how recruiters can help out with that, obviously, with more prospecting, targeting those higher ASVAB areas, areas where Marines and to a lesser extent Army do well. And yeah, just centers of influence that are focused on athletic people that really are gritty, determined, don't quit. That's
Yeah, I
what we
think
need.
water sports have some ability to forecast at least meeting physical requirements, not being afraid of the water, right? Which is
Definitely
an
helps.
important element in all the Warrior Challenge ratings. It might be helpful if you just, for the non-recruiters out there, just kind of go through like, what is Warrior Challenge? What are the ratings?
Absolutely.
in there?
So, Warrior Challenge is a gathering of 8 ratings. The common tie is that physical screening test. All of them, you have to pass this test before you can get your contract. So, it's a 500-yard swim, push ups, sit ups, pull ups, and a 1.5-mile run. So, the 8 ratings in question are SEAL, SWIC, EOD, diver, air rescue swimmer, and then 3 that are lumped together under the Corpsman Advanced Technical Field, HMATF. That's search and medical technician, dive medical technician, and special operations independent duty corpsman.
Yeah, so that's quite a grouping, and it's a wide range when you consider you have air rescue, which is about saving people's lives, all the way through to EOD techs and special operators, SWIC, that are doing less life saving and more mission accomplishment through destruction.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
So
you definitely get the full spectrum. Yeah, it's important. Don't have just from the recruiting perspective an idea of one set thing that is Warrior Challenge. It's not always the type A kick indoor, shoot someone in the face that wants to do all these jobs. The mindset for a Navy diver or a rescue swimmer is very different.
yeah, it's really important. And the other thing that I would say to recruiters out there to keep in mind is the academic requirements for Warrior Challenge are similar to the academic requirements for nuclear trained, nuke field enlisted. So that gives you some perspective on, sort of how hard it is, the small shot group required when you take all those elements and overlap all the Venn diagrams. That's why this is hard.
It is. Yes, sir.
So, sir, are there any additional resources or trainings that could better equip recruiters out across the enterprise to effectively identify potential candidates?
So yes, but it is also something we can do a lot better at. So on the e-toolbox under the HPR programs, there's a Warrior Challenge section that lays out job sheets for all the different jobs and has a PowerPoint that lays out the pipelines and provides a little bit of information, but it really doesn't deep dive into especially some of the lesser known fields like Navy diver, EOD that are really struggling in recruiting. We probably do need, or we definitely owe Recruiting Nation more to help sell those positions and explain kind of the full spectrum that they cover.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's important to recognize, though, yes, those resources are available, uh, but within each NTAG, there are, a Warrior Challenge coordinator who should have those types of that type of information available. And we've just started the new mentor contract to give some additional assistance. And then finally, the team here has decades of combined experience to be able to answer questions from the field, right?
Absolutely.
So do you find that you have taken questions from the field in the shop among those that are working for you?
No, we get more questions about the different requirements for different programs. I think there's still a little bit of confusion because it is 8 different rates that have different requirements. Some people just think like he meets the requirement for this one, why not that one? So we have to explain some of that. But we get a lot less questions about the actual job themselves or how to sell it. Where I think that's something we just need to be a little bit more proactive on, kind of pushing down. But definitely the
Yeah.
mentors and the teams at the Integ help with that a lot.
Yeah, and some of the challenge with the coordinator and the mentor is they each are from a given rate. And the coordinator isn't always a Warrior Challenge rate. So they may know their rate or a particular rate. And because there are 8 within the Warrior Challenge group, it is sometimes difficult to make clear what the individual value proposition is of a particular rate for a particular candidate so that you can match that up in a good way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sir, are there any proven successes as far as strategies that may be working significantly well in a certain areas, but not in other areas where
So yeah, I would say at the most tactical level, the recruiters prospecting those high AFQT areas where Marines and to a lesser extent Army do well. And then at the operational level, the Integ manning those teams, at least the coordinator, lead recruiter, and 1 recruiter for every 2 divisions at a minimum. More like 1 per every 2 or 1 per division. That Warrior Challenge recruiter is optimal. And then us providing that guidance from the strategic level, kind of working all in unison to really push that mission, prioritize it, and clear roadblocks from this level, which Admiral's done a great job of doing. Basically anything I've asked for since I've been here, he's been like, yep, absolutely, move out. So really appreciate that, sir, prioritizing this mission for us.
Yeah, I think it's also important to talk a little bit about the the pool. And by pool, I don't mean the swimming pool. I mean the group of folks that are working toward a Warrior Challenge contract. Because of the significance of the PST, that physical test, it takes time in many cases to work to a place where you're ready to pass that thing to gain a contract. So we have more time in the pool. Talk a little bit about best practices that your team is talking about in managing that pool, not just to have a big pool of people working toward a PST, but to generate contracts out of it.
Absolutely. So from what we see on DPRs, the INTAG level, something we definitely see as being very successful is setting goals for recruiting divisions to push bodies, refer bodies to the pool and assist that Warrior Challenge team out. As far as managing the pool, having set PST and swim clinic rotations, like a set schedule that allows people to plan their travel and get to as many of those as possible, instead of just coming up with like a weekly schedule and trying to hope all your candidates can flex and make it that week, is beneficial. But it is definitely challenging in some of the more spread out areas that are undermanned, trying to see everyone that could be interested and give them enough time in the pool, doing PSTs, working on what they need to get better is definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I think it's also important that recruiters recognize that you can have essentially two different statuses in that pool. There are those that are under contract for a different rating. They've been to, or at least been to MEPS and been fizzed, had the physical done. And then there's a group that have signed a hold harmless agreement that allows them to work out and work toward a PST. The intent of that is to gain maximum opportunity, maximum referrals. Hey, I'm going this Saturday for swim clinic. Why don't you come along? The person shows up, they can sign a hold harmless agreement and they can work out. But the recruiter should understand, the teams that are working with them should understand that our desire here is that we're always moving them toward the second or the first group, right? I'm now under contract. I've been to MEPS. I've been through a physical, a little bit more skin in the game, a little bit more connectivity, a little bit more stickiness to it, not just showing up occasionally, right? It's that movement and draw in. And I think the mentors that are out there now give us a real advantage in that, right? They are this consistent presence. They give the credibility of having been there, done that, and lead people to want to be more like them, more like the people that they're describing that are doing this work in the Navy.
Absolutely. And yeah, the hold harmless, relatively new thing. I think that was August timeframe that came out, so still pretty new, but tremendous tool, as you said, to get people to the pool. But yeah, absolutely, and they need to work hand in hand with the INTAG and get those people moving through the normal processes. No reason to be working out for a month with somebody just for them to then go to MEPS and find out they were never going to be physically qualified for one of those jobs.
Right.
They're going to be much more frustrated with that result than if they'd found that out after a week or two. We've been just working together hand in hand, Warrior Challenge team and the INTAG, to find something they will benefit or enjoy in the Navy.
Yeah, that's a great point. The relationship that the overall NTAG has to have with the Warrior Challenge team needs to be really tight, because there's going to be people that never quite get to the PST to pass the PST, or realize, hey, I have a condition that can be waived for general duty, but not for Warrior Challenge. And having that relationship so that we can work with them and give them other opportunities where they can join the Navy and do another important job for us, and not get rating locked onto that individual thing that they've got their eyes now set on. And so that relationship is really important too.
Yeah, the comms and coordination between the Warrior Challenge team and the rest of the division personnel and INTAG personnel is huge. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, sir, what are some common misconceptions that recruiters across the enterprise should be ready to engage with once they're dealing with potential Warrior Challenge candidates?
So I think the two biggest ones we see are, one, everyone hears Warrior Challenge or Naval Special Operation, Naval Special Warfare, and they just think Navy SEAL only and have this one set picture in their mind of what that means. When really, even amongst the SEALs, there is a diverse group of people it's not always these super elite athletes, super type A kind of guys. There is some spread there, but also SEALs is only 1/3 of the overall Warrior Challenge mission. So there is something for everyone. So don't look at somebody and just determine like that guy's not a kick down a door, shoot him in the face guy. He can go somewhere else. Talk to them about all the programs, see what they're interested in, and I think there is a Warrior Challenge program that'd be or they would enjoy. The other one is the swim specifically. A lot of people tend to think you have to be a amazing swimmer to have a chance to make it into one of our communities. You really don't. Those people will have an easier time, a lot of the aquatic adaptability stuff, but you can absolutely go from a basic level of comfortability in the water and get to passing a PST in a relatively short order. I was a great athlete. I was not a great swimmer. I was a terrible swimmer. My first PST, I passed. My head did not go in the water. I was just side stroking as hard as I could. I passed. My numbers were terrible. The mentor pulled me aside, gave me 10 minutes of training. My swim time dropped by a minute next time, and all my other scores went up because I wasn't thrashing through the water, wasting energy. But still, if somebody had looked at me and just said, "Hey, do you swim?" I said no, and they started pushing me somewhere else, I never would have been learned about EOD. So yeah, just don't have that set idea of what a Warrior Challenge candidate looks like in your mind. It really can be a wide range of people. Yeah,
Mhm.
That's great advice.
It is. So, sir, is there any feedback that you've been receiving from the various pipelines about the candidates that are coming through?
yes. Oh,
By the look on your face, it might not be all good news.
it's not. I mean, these are a very discerning customer, the Warrior Challenge community. So they want increased quantity, which we know about, increased quality, and immediate returns, which is unreasonable to ask, but it's the situation we were in because we missed goal for many years. Re- yeah, it is getting to the point, and these communities, the pipelines take so long to get through that the people we're recruiting now aren't hitting the field until maybe 2026, 2027, when the operational demands might be incredibly different than they are right now. So it is basically an emergency situation that
Yeah.
we start meeting the mission now, start getting these bodies in. Um, but I do understand, yeah, asking for more quantity, more quality, and immediate results.
But it
is a
goes
lot.
back to that overlapping, the Venn diagram idea. It takes a very specific set of people to do those to be successful, because the training pipelines aren't going to get easier, and they're not going to just let more people in. Those training pipelines have a very high standard, and you have to have the right people go to them. But I think for the recruiters out there, for others that might be watching that are not recruiters, one of the indicators that I think is very positive is our mission making on Warrior Challenge. Uh, our glide slope is much closer to the goal glide slope than it's ever been. We made mission on Warrior Challenge in August and have gotten very close the last couple of months. The other thing that's super important to recognize is the pool of candidates working toward a Warrior Challenge contract is significantly larger than it's ever been. And we're very focused on those numbers. Um, when I first got here in March, when we finally dissected it down, there were a couple hundred people nationally in the pool trying to make 200 a month. And now we're around closing in on 900. We might even be over 900 today. And so that statistically, we're getting in a place where we have the right people in that pool that are working toward passing the PST that will then meet the requirements and then consistently generate the number necessary to get after it. The immediate part will always be a challenge, as you know.
Absolutely.
The quality and quantity, I think we're moving in that direction right now. And then the timeline, a lot of it is the training pipeline that you can't shortchange, because you don't make an experienced operator that makes split second life and death decisions in the field by them, in a small team quickly. You don't make that quickly.
Absolutely not. Yep.
Yeah.
So, sir, as we near the end of Uncharted Waters, where do you see Warrior Challenge in the next 12 to 24 months?
I mean, yeah, as the Admiral laid out, I think we're moving in the right direction. I think we are very soon going to start seeing where we are meeting our contracting goal because the pool is getting there and it's getting to a point where they've had a little bit of time and are starting to move towards contracts. Um, the getting the depth where we needed the actual contracted people up to where we are sustainably meeting shipping goals with qualified applicants, I think is going to be a more long-term solution, but I think we're going to get there as long as we keep prioritizing this mission and everyone really works together to get there. I think we can achieve it.
Yeah, this is like applying hydraulic pressure to a rock. Eventually, the rock's going to break, right? We're together applying hydraulic pressure to this problem, and we're eventually and steadily moving in a place where we will consistently perform not only that, but I think overachieve, which is necessary to make up for past misses. Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Sir, closing remarks?
Yeah, this has been a great discussion. I really appreciate you coming in. Voluntold. So,
I was begging for it.
The
opportunity to speak
the
to
great
recruiters.
opportunity.
Thanks.
But for Recruiting Nation, we didn't have Lieutenant Coger when I first got here. It was an office that was not led by an officer. Each individual designator rating was managing their own program, and we had some real challenges. And I asked the Warrior Challenge leadership in the Navy for some help, and they gave me Lieutenant Coger, and I'm super glad they did because you've done a masterful job in gathering this together and really learning along the way, but driving Warrior Challenge in the right direction. So thanks for that.
Well, yeah. Recruiting Nation, thank you for tuning in to Uncharted Waters with the one, the only, the people's champ, the architect of success, Admiral James Waters. Chief Totemate out.